I'm going to keep it brief because Mike is going to come up next. But look, I want to talk about two things. One vote, one person, one vote. Everyone heard of that? One person, one vote. That's what this country is about, and truth, freedom, and health. All of those are under attack right now in the United States. But let me tell you what I discovered in Massachusetts, and many of you know I shared this in the Arizona hearings, that the real crime scene in this country is the electronic voting machines. Let me repeat that. The real crime scene is the electronic voting machines. The real crime scene is the electronic voting machines. In 1787, there was something called the 3/5 compromise, which said that a black person was 3/5 of a vote. You remember that? In 1857, a person called Dred Scott attempted to be a citizen, but the Supreme Court in a 7-2 ruling said that he was still only 3/5 of a person. It took until the 14th Amendment, but it was only 60 years ago, in 1964, that Judge Earl Warren said, one person, one vote. But starting in 2002, something very important occurred in this country, and that was the electronic voting systems introduced a feature called the weighted race algorithm. Weighted race algorithm. It's a feature that the secretaries of state approved. And what that allowed people to do is, if me and Mike were running for office, he got 1,000 votes, I got 1,000 votes, and let's say the deep state wanted him to win, or they could multiply his votes by 2 and multiply my votes by 0.5. This is a feature in the electronic voting systems that was certified by the secretaries of state and the national state election directors. This was done by the secretaries of state. In Massachusetts, what occurred to me when I ran for U.S. Senate on September 1, I won by a landslide. They multiplied my votes by 0.666. And they multiplied my opponents by 1.2. We have a federal lawsuit in Massachusetts, 2 of them. I won one of them already by representing myself. So we have hope. The judge was a federal judge appointed by Reagan. We have another lawsuit coming up. The reason I'm telling you this is you cannot trust politicians, you cannot trust lawyers, you cannot trust judges. We must trust ourselves. We won one part of this in Massachusetts, but the bottom line is this: we do not have one person, one vote. What has occurred in this country, because of big tech, power is now consolidated by a few, and we must go back to the hand-counted ballot, paper ballots. We got to go back to paper ballots. And you're hearing that from a guy who's got 4 degrees from MIT, who invented the first email system, and who understands technology. I'm here to tell you, they've made us all slaves with these electronic voting systems. So one person, one vote. 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 And that's what we want. And all of you need to go back into your local towns and cities. You got to destroy those electronic voting machines. Demand that we go back to paper ballots. That's hand counted by all of us. That's how we're going to get back to democracy. Thank you very much, everyone. Be well, be the light. Thank you. Mike, you got a video, right? Okay, you got a video coming up. Here's Mike.
God had been taken out of our schools and lives. The nation had turned its back on God. And I encourage you to use this time.
A bit of history, right? American history, which this court has forgotten. And then in 1964, the great Justice Earl Warren clarified the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment, which said one person, one vote. That was only 60 years ago. Let's not forget that. That was only 60 years ago. Starting at around the year 2000, the deep state elites started putting out electronic voting systems, which allowed us to fractionalize voting. Computer algorithms. The real crime scene is those computer algorithms. That's what it is. And these guys here have been lawyering way too much. They do not understand technology. They do not understand the fact that what we have today in this country is we're back to Dred Scott. All of us are being made slaves. All of us, black and white. And the issue of voter fraud, election fraud, is not a Democrat issue, is not a Republican issue. It is an American issue. It is an American issue that affects all Americans. And you're looking at someone who came to this country in 1970 as a son of untouchables. India has a caste system where we were thought of as less than a human being. The reason my mother and father left India was because they said in America you had the rule of law. Rule of law, which that court doesn't seem to get. And the other thing was one person, one vote. Now, I ran for United States Senate in Massachusetts. Just like President Trump, we won that on a landslide. And the GOP establishment and the Democrats colluded, just like they did against our great president. So we have got to realize in this country that we must start following the right leadership. And the reason we're here today with election fraud, with forced vaccinations, with these mask mandates and lockdowns is because we forgot who our real leaders are. Our real leaders are you, the American working people. The American working people have always led movements that have inspired the entire world. Not politicians, not judges, not lawyers. And we need to realize that today, because today we need to take back one person, one vote. And we need to destroy these electronic voting machines. They all need to go away. And you're hearing that from a guy who has 4 degrees from MIT, who invented the first email system, that I'm here to tell you that technology is not all good. Technology is all not good. We need to go back to paper, ballots, hand-counted in local communities, transparently, by the people, for the people. That's what we need to do. And the fact that this Supreme Court is living still in the 18th century, that's where they are. Because the fact is, the real crime scene is those electronic voting machines. And that's owned by big tech. Big tech, big tech, big tech must be brought down. We must take back one person, one vote. And that's what I'm here to tell you, the son of untouchables. Because otherwise, we're all freaking slaves. And that is not what this country was built on. And as the previous gentleman said, we need to have a bottoms-up movement. Bottoms up. Because the courts aren't going to do it. The politicians aren't going to do it. The left and the right aren't going to do it. It's going to be us taking back this country. And the reality is, as you saw what I showed in Michigan and Arizona, I did the math. They stole our votes. Our votes are no longer meaningful. This is what they did in banana republics, in third world countries, and the deep state has brought it back here. These electronic voting machines must go. With them, we're all screwed. We don't have democracy. And that's what the real crime scene is. Yes, you can talk about mail-in ballots. Yes, you can talk about voter suppression. But the real crime scene is the computer algorithms. That's what it is all about. So we need to all wake up, and we need to start building our own movement, bottoms up, for truth, freedom, and health. 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 Thank you, everyone. Let's go win. We have just unleashed a revolution. Let's move it forward. Thank you.